13 months actually to the day. I'm a diamond coach, and there's so many things that I wish I could have gone back and redone in these last 13 months. But I think my biggest thing that I wish that I could have jump into a time machine and do all over again is focus on me. And when I say that, I mean like put myself into the 3 vital behaviors. Because when I started as a coach, I was looking for fluff. I was looking for like all the things that I couldn't really control. I wanted to hit Success Club 20. I wanted to be recognized by like all of the leaders, and I wanted all of these things, but I didn't really know how to get there. And I wasn't focusing on the most important piece of my business, and that was me. So my invites weren't building true relationships. I wasn't living proof of the product. I was being salesy. I wasn't reading personal development. So those 3 are the vital behaviors. And the where I went wrong was that I wasn't focusing on myself in order to give myself to my customers, my challengers, my coaches. So when I sat down and I hit a brick wall and I said to myself, okay, I hit diamond, but I'm not like, I could get to diamond and not make the type of money that I want to be making. So I sat down myself, I said, okay, what can I do now that's going to get me to quit my full-time teaching job? What's going to get me to provide for my family and make it so that I can move back to New York? Because that's my biggest why. It's to not have to look for a teaching job somewhere. So I sat down and I laid out the 3 vital behaviors for myself. And I said, how can I put myself out there to build amazing relationships and then really focus on me? So my biggest benchmark in my business was when I decided to make my 5 a.m. workout my job. Just like I go to work every day because it pays my salary, I made my 5 a.m. workout a priority because essentially you are the sole person in your business. I am the sole person in my business, and I needed to make sure that I was living proof of the product and that I was achieving my own goals. And that's really started with me working on my own health and fitness journey. So I have been doing 5 a.m. strong for like 6 months now, ever since we got back from retreat and kind of like throughout summit, but my strongest was when we got back from retreat. And that was just like one piece of the puzzle that I was missing, was just focusing on my health and fitness journey. And then, so that was being proof of the product. And then through inviting, in order for me and you to really reach out and get those quality challengers who fall in love with the product, how to get those quality coaches who are going to, reflect your behaviors, you really need to be confident with what you're doing. I wasn't using the product as much as I should have been when I first started. So I wasn't giving off the feeling that I was passionate about these products. So another huge thing that I made a 180 on was actually showing my passion for these products and showing that, what I do, I'm confident with. I was so nervous about reaching out to people because I wasn't confident with what I was doing. Once I reevaluated, okay, Shakeology really is the best thing I could be drinking. Working out every morning at 5 a.m. really is the best thing that I could be doing. Being confident that I'm reaching out to these people and what I have to offer them is amazing. I shouldn't be self-conscious that they may not join me, that they may unfriend me, because there's commercials all over the place. There's commercials, millions and millions of commercials every day, which is what you're essentially doing. You are reaching out to people who you want to join your tribe and join your challenge groups and stuff like that. So that was kind of like an aha moment for me, was just believing in yourself in order for people to believe in you. And then the third thing is personal development. I know for those of you who haven't started personal development yet, I'm right there. I was right there with you for like the first 9 months of my business. I probably started personal development around Christmas time this past year. So I'd already been a coach for 10 months or 9 months. And I started with what I thought that I needed most, and that was self-confidence. And I have worked from there. So every morning I work out, and then I have an hour drive to work every day. So I do my 45 minutes of audio, which is usually personal development. So working on confidence, relationships, just like my mentality. And then every night before bed, I do 10 minutes of professional development. And a book that we just got for free at the Chalene Johnson seminar is Living Forward. So this is just something I keep next to my bed. So it's like a trigger. I see it before I go to bed. It's only 10 minutes. I have to read it before I go to bed. And that's my personal development. And I'm telling you, like, I didn't even pick a book up for the first 9 months, but as soon as I did, I really have come to peace that, like, what I have to offer people, who I am, is much, my title is not Beachbody Coach. It's Ashley Fell Dyson, and what I'm doing is the best that I could possibly be doing, and that's really important to brand yourself. So if you could take anything out of this, it's just to be you. Focus on you, and all of the great things will follow.
Yay. I like that. Thank you for sharing. Like you said, yeah, I think a lot of people sometimes get caught up in the fluff when they first start. Like, they see all these like pretty pictures and they think they have to like make all this stuff. But if you always just bring it back to you, that's the most important thing. Cool. I took lots of notes. Thank you. Jill?
Hey guys. I've been a coach for almost 3 years already. And the top 3 things that have helped me in the past year alone, number 1, improving my environment. And what I mean by that is I had the worst support where I lived back home in Nebraska. And no one in my immediate family supported anything I did. It was more of my extended family that had my back the entire way. So because of that, it both brought me down and it motivated me. Am I echoing right now?
No.
Okay, I thought I was. And believe it or not, the people that you're around on a daily basis can affect your mindset if you let it. I mean, and there was more oftentimes than not, I let it affect me. I did. And it got me down to the point where I dropped Emerald, got back up to Emerald, then hit Diamond and dropped Diamond for just a couple weeks. But I made it a goal to let that motivate me too. And I needed to get out of there. So I pushed hard and then finally moved halfway across the country. And I'm in a more positive environment now, because I've surrounding myself with the people that actually matter, the people that will support me and have my back. And it's most of you guys too. Like, you're my family outside of my family. And we all need that to help reach our goals. My second thing, as Ashley said, dive deeper into personal development. That is what I did. For my first 2 years, I wasn't very consistent with it because I felt like I didn't need it. Like, we all think that. I mean, we've all thought that in the past, and that's totally wrong. Now I need it, and I even crave it first thing in the morning and a few times throughout the day. I have an alarm system on my phone that's similar to what Annie posted last week, I think, sometime. And it has certain times in the day that I perform different tasks. Like, they're just subtle reminders while I'm working the business to make me stop and think or reflect or read personal development, whatever it might be. So some examples of that are, like, at 5:30, I try to wake up and work out every morning. Like, that's my goal. At 8 o'clock, my alarm says, reflect on where I want to be a year from now or in a year. At 10:30, I have a gratitude check, and that really makes me stop and think, like, what are 3 things I'm most thankful for right now? Especially if I'm having an off day, that brings me back down to earth, and, like, life or this business doesn't need to control me. I need to focus on what I'm actually thankful for and how far I've gotten, and the people I have around me. At noon, I have an alarm goes off for personal development. And obviously, I'm not going to do that if I'm out and about somewhere, if I don't have anything with me. But if I'm working my business during the middle of the day, I will stop and either put on a podcast, a YouTube video, or get out a book. And then at 2:30, I have another alarm goes off that says, have I reached my goals for the day, just for that day? And you don't have to do this, but it's just a fun little thing I started because it is kind of cool to be interrupted in the middle of my business and, refocus myself on the things that actually matter. Number 3, I started focusing less on quantity of coaches and more on the quality of them. I had 5 coaches alone quit last week. 5. And when I first started, when one would quit, I would freak out like, oh my gosh, I failed. I need to quit, give up because a coach quit on me. So that must mean that I'm a crappy leader. And that's not it at all. It just means that the ones who aren't, fit for this business, they're weeding themselves out on their own. They're helping you out by doing that. It has nothing to do with your leadership or anything that you've done. It could just be simply it wasn't for them. I've had discount coaches who say they weren't really seeing the discount with it. But it's draining for us to try and sit here and convince them that, yes, actually you are, saving money with it. It's not worth our time. We've told them once before. We can't, repeat ourselves over and over. And I've also had a very successful coach who hit Success Club 10 her first month quit because coaching wasn't challenging enough for her. So there's all kinds out there, and we can't beat ourselves up just because someone's choice to quit isn't what we agree with. I mean, it's not for everyone, and that's okay. So I've definitely focused on who I invite. But I still do invite to the coaching opportunity. I'm just more selective about it. I don't chase people anymore. And I let them observe me and come to me more often instead of, like I said, chasing them, because it's really draining on you. 2 things I wish I would have done sooner. The first one is making my own videos for the coach sneak peek that is hosted every month. Now, I know you newer coaches are freaking out like, oh my gosh, I barely know what I'm doing. So how can I make this? That's not what I mean. If you are a new coach, definitely rely on your upline with the coach sneak peek groups that they host, but take advantage of that. They're there to help you. So they provide all the information. You just got to find some prospects or some people that might be interested in what we're doing and stick them in there for you. But it was almost 3 years before I made my own coaching videos, and that was basically laziness. It's not that I was scared in front of a camera. It was lazy about it. But there's something about your prospects as you go along in your coaching journey that when they hear it straight from your mouth, they form the trust sooner. And that's definitely made a huge difference in my business. The second thing I wish I would have done sooner is added my sister as a coach. Now, for most of you, you have a spouse to add, but if you weren't aware of this, definitely add a spouse, a supportive significant other, or a family member as one of your coaches. If I had done this sooner and thought about it, I would have rank advanced sooner. I would have been able to, further advance my business, but she doesn't work it at all. I simply use her email address and I build under her. But she's a person for me. So that's just another way I can help, or I can hold my diamond rank. And there are a few videos on that, on what the advantages are of adding your spouse as a coach or a family member in general. So don't wait on that, because it will help you out. If you're a new coach, you're halfway to Emerald. So those are my tips.
Hey, those are so good. I love the alarm thing. I have it. My husband's always like, why do you have like a million alarms going on? Yeah. I'm like, this helps me remember, because I have like a horrible memory. So, like, did I do my invites today? I'm like, oh, I don't know. And then I get a reminder. And then I loved how you said you made your own videos. That's something that I waited on too. Mm-hmm. But like for newer coaches, maybe like if you're not ready to make your own videos yet for an internship, you could maybe just start posting for a challenge group. Mm-hmm. And I think when people see you as the person posting, it just, that person relates to you, and your customers relate to you so much more when it's you doing the posting. So cool. Awesome. Thanks so much, Joe. Leah, do you want to go?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So I just wrote a few things down, and Ashley, I think I'm probably going to echo you a little bit. But I've been a coach, let's see. I've been like an active coach for a year. I've been a coach for, it'll be 2 years, I think, end of May. But I signed up and found out I was pregnant, so I didn't do a whole lot until I had the baby. So I started, so it's been just about a year since I like started actively working the business. And I would say that, being consistent in my own fitness journey has been a huge benefit for me over the last year, because I have people commenting to me all the time, when I see them in person, or even people I don't know send me messages. So being consistent in your own fitness journey and sharing that too. I mean, you have to share that on Facebook, in the good and the bad. I mean, you don't have to make it all sound wonderful all the time, because I know it's a struggle. I actually also have 3 kids. They're 5, 3, and 1. So it's very, very busy here at my house and hectic. So I usually get up early in the morning to work out and post about it. So people are seeing that, on a consistent basis. Also, I would say hands down, like, you have to be drinking Shakeology every day, because people are going to ask you about it. And if you're not drinking every day and you don't love it, they're going to see through you. I mean, if anytime anyone asks me about it, I mean, I rave, because again, I have 3 kids, 5, 3, and 1. I do not have time in the morning for anything else. I mean, it wouldn't be happening. So to make that in the morning is just like a godsend for me. So definitely we're drinking Shakeology every day, and that'll come through when you talk to people. Your love for the product will come through. And that was leading me to another thing Ashley said, was be confident. You probably became a coach because you had good success with the program and fell in love with the program. And so when people want to talk to you about that, be confident in it. Don't be wishy-washy. Even I remember, and this happened to me, I feel like more early on, people would say, oh, I want to do this program, but I don't want Shakeology. And I was very wishy-washy. And now I am always like, you have to do it. You have to give it a try for a month. And I don't really get a lot of pushback anymore at all. So definitely be confident when you're talking about, the programs and what they can do for people, because, they can really be life-changing for a lot of people when they have, the right support and, they're in the right frame of mind to make a change in their life. So those are my kind of things that I thought might be helpful. I know I still struggle with inviting. That is one thing I wish I have done every day for the last year, but I go through, spurts on and off. But I have a lot of people that, I've gotten messages from recently that have been watching me for like a year now. And it's funny. It's like, I don't know if they're like waiting a year or mentally that like people need to watch somebody for a year before they reach out. But it's funny because in the last few weeks, or maybe it's a springtime, I don't know what it is, but it's interesting. But inviting is huge. If you're not inviting people, and it doesn't have to be like an overbearing like invite. It can start with a conversation, especially, when you're posting every day, you have people that are going to like your posts. It can start with messaging them that way. It doesn't have to be, like, hey, thanks for the love on my fitness post. It doesn't have to be like, hey, you want to buy this challenge pack and, drink Shakeology, and, more about like the relationship building. Cause I think in the beginning too, I was maybe not, building that relationship right off the bat. So that would be some of my advice.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, I love how you say that. You just bring it back to like what we should be doing every single day. So somebody actually commented in the chat that they felt overwhelmed in Coach Basics, and what would you suggest to a new coach? And I always say to them, like, get off Facebook, like just focus on doing your 3 vitals every day. Like I see Leah's post every morning that she gets up and she has 3 kids and she's working out, and then she's sharing about her Shakeology, and then she's being confident about that. And that really is what it brings it back to, is the 3 vital skills. And like you mentioned how, just be confident in your Shakeology. And I remember the exact same thing. I would have coaches or people say to me, well, I want to join with a fitness program, but I don't want to drink Shakeology. And I used to back off and be like, okay. But now I'm like, no, like I'm like, no, like people who do it with the 30 days, with the program and the challenge pack get the best results. Try it for 30 days. And I really don't get a lot of pushback when you're confident in it because you're using the product. So
Yeah. I also think when people spend money on something like that, I mean, it's not a huge amount of money, but it's a good chunk of change. And I feel like when people spend the, $140, $160 on a challenge pack, they're more invested. So they're actually going to do better in sticking to it. Whereas if you just give somebody something, they don't see any value in it. And so,
right.
they might not do as well. So
exactly. And it's also giving them like their breakfast or their meal for the day that maybe
right.
we all know that we can work out as much as we want, but it's all about what we're eating. So it's like that extra nutrition that they need. So cool. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Get my thing. Brooke, do you want to go?
Hey, sure. So I'm Brooke. I've been a coach for almost 11 months. Middle of April will be my year. And so 3 things that I kind of thought about that have helped my business since I started is having a really strong why. And I talk about this a lot. But my why is all about my family and my baby. For those of you that don't know, I'm about almost 9 months pregnant and I'm having a baby next month. And like Ashley, it's always been my goal to quit my job. I want more than anything to stay home and never go back. And so, because I'm pregnant and I have that strong why, I feel like I push every single day, no matter what, like no excuses to get stuff done, because I just want that outcome so badly. So I think if you don't have a strong why, you really need to kind of reflect and dig pretty deep and, figure out what's going to push you to do those 3 vital behaviors every day, no matter what, and not make any excuses. So that's my first one. My second one is getting accountability partners or partners and, really getting together with people who really will push you and keep you accountable and keep you moving your business forward every day. I have a handful of accountability partners, and we have a group text and we chat every single day, and it just kind of we chat about the business and then we chat about just life in general. And so it's kind of, we've made those relationships and those connections that I think help my business both, with the business aspect and then just personally, just to kind of keep me motivated and kind of in the groove. And then my third one is being a leader. I think I definitely, and this kind of goes with what I wish I did sooner. I think I waited a little bit too long to feel like I could be a leader. Like I felt like I needed to have enough people, enough coaches on my team to feel like it was okay to kind of have like my own coaching group. So now I have my own coach huddle group, and there's like 10 of us in it, but I wish I had started even sooner. Like I wish I had started when it was just me and my first coach, and just, started those routines and getting into the groove of posting more consistently and posting like accountability threads and stuff like that. But so now I feel like I have that group, and I have about, like I said, 10 people. And so having that group and feeling like I'm in more of like a leader role, I feel like it's helped my business because it's forced me to become more consistent. So I feel like I want to like lead by example. And so I don't want to let them down. And so it drives me to do more every day. I have like a monthly marketing plan because as a teacher, I want to be there for them and I want to help them as much as I can. So I have the monthly marketing plan so they know what to expect and what they can talk to their challengers and their coaches about.
Could you explain it just like a little bit so people don't?
Sure. So a marketing plan, I just kind of do it really easily on, I think it's Word on my Mac. And it's just like a calendar about what's coming up for the next month. So like when I'm going to host the free group, when I'm going to host our challenge groups, and when I'm going to host our sneak peek group. and like what the topic will be for the free group, just so that they know and that they can start promoting it ahead of time. So in order to have that marketing plan, I have to have all those groups in place too. So I have to like be ready and on my game to have the free group ready to go. And I have to know when the challenge groups are going to be held. And with one of my accountability partners and I, we've taken on doing the sneak peeks together, which was a huge kind of leap that I took, that I was, like Jill said, I was really nervous to do that and make our own videos. But again, because I had these people and I knew that they were counting on me, it really forced me to kind of step up my game a little bit. It's, I post every week about the National Wake Up Call. There was definitely a while there that I wasn't listening to the National Wake Up Call every week. So in general, it just has made me, I think, a better leader, but also better for my own business, Yeah. And then 2 things that I wish I had done sooner. Where some of us are taking doing the like page training. And with that, I think I've learned a little bit more about posting. And so not only posting more consistently, but like the quality of my posts. I wish I had known about that sooner, but I think there's definitely a learning curve when you're a new coach and you kind of just don't really know what to post about, and you're posting a lot about fitness and nutrition and recipes and, like stock photos from Pinterest and things like that. But what I've learned from taking the training is that people want to see more of like me and my life and get to know me and to get to be able to trust me before they're going to ever buy something from me or join my group or anything like that. So I've learned just to kind of put myself more on my pages and tell more of my story. And then obviously to intertwine that with fitness and nutrition. But it doesn't have to be, just because I'm a health and fitness coach, it doesn't have to just be about health and fitness. They want to see me too. And then the second thing I wish I had done sooner was recruiting help. As a full-time teacher, and like I said, I'm really pregnant. I just can't do it all by myself. It just wouldn't happen. And so, help/support. My husband is really, really, really supportive. He does all of my invites for me. And so it's just, and like Jill had said, you want to surround yourself with supportive people. He's like really, really supportive. He knows that it's my goal to want to stay home. He wants me to stay home with our baby. So he really helps me and does some of the inviting and kind of behind the scenes stuff that I wouldn't necessarily be able to do. So
That's awesome.
So that's my.
Yay. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, I think that, like you said, like with Casey, your husband, knowing what your number one goal is, which goes back to your why, it helps you so much with posting and sharing your story. Right. Because you'll probably notice that you probably get way more likes on posts that are just more about you than about health or fitness, right?
I always say that, like all my baby posts get like hundreds of likes, and then some of the other stuff, not so much.
Right. And because they know that you're sharing your story of like what your why is, and you're pretty open with him. Like, this is what my goal is and my vision. So if you guys haven't written down your why, that's so important to not only just tell yourself it, maybe like tell your coach, maybe tell, somebody that's going to be supportive. Like maybe share with your husband if they're supportive with you. And maybe like an accountability partner. That is just so key. I can't tell you how important that is. And then accountability partners, which you guys met like through the coach group. If you see somebody in your coach group that is posting a lot and you see that they're relatively new, or you just have something that relates to them, just make sure that you like friend them, send them a message. You could pair up with them. A lot of the girls will text each other, which makes it so great because we're all living across the country. So when you get a daily text about the business, it kind of brings you back to, did I do my goal? Did I do my vital skills? And just gets you in that mindset.
We use each other a lot for like help, just like a random question that we need the quick answer to. Like if we're in the middle of trying to sell a challenge pack or something, it's just another form of kind of support and help.
Exactly. Cool. Those are awesome. I wrote them all down. Thank you.
Thanks.
Ashley? Here.
I started with an Ashley and ending with an Ashley.
I think I don't know if Kim's on.
She said she's going to be on a couple minutes late, but
Oh,
here she is. Lessons must be done. So I'm Ashley, and I've been a coach for 13 months or so, I think. And a couple of the things that, I guess 3 things that I think have helped make my business successful are, I know that Brooke already touched on the success partners, but not only having, because it can be easy to, I know when I first started coaching that I talked with Annie like 500 times a day, asking all these questions and this and that. But the truth is, yes, at the beginning I needed that, but we're at different points in our business. So I think it's important to also pair up with somebody or a group of people that have similar goals to you. Kind of want to reach some of those same benchmarks, have the same sort of way of doing things as you. And then that way, it's pretty easy to team up and be on the same page and push each other versus, somebody who's trying to get to, me trying to get to Emerald and Annie's up there catching her stars. So it's kind of cool to be at the same level as somebody and grow your businesses together. So for that there. And then another thing I would say that's really helped grow my business would be, it can be really, really easy when you first become a coach to, like other people had said, become overwhelmed and think, oh, I've got to do all of these things. And you're so focused on, okay, I got them in the challenge group. So now I need to make sure in 2.5 weeks I check on this. I need to do this and this, and get so caught up in the process that you could sort of easily forget about creating the experience. And that's what if you're one of my personally sponsored coaches, I'm like crazy about challenge groups, because my first challenge group literally gave me the best experience. And it's absolutely why I became a coach, is because I was excited about it. I loved checking in there every day. If I didn't check in, somebody actually gave a crap that I wasn't there. Someone was like, hey, where were you today? And to me, that was a really big deal. So I think just creating an experience for everybody that you have in there is so, so important, because A, you want them to get the most out of it, and B, I would say that's where the majority of, your discount or your business coaches are going to come from. So definitely create that awesome experience in challenge groups. And then another thing that was helpful is just reading everything. So of course, do the coach basics, do Emerald, read the files, all of that, but also go on to into your coach online office. And, there's the training tab in there, and that has really, really great information. So read through all of that. And someone just said, yeah, we got some crazy cats in the back here. But just making sure that, don't wait for somebody to give you the information. Of course you can ask, but go out and find it. Really read all of that stuff, take notes, and then share it with others. If you find something interesting or cool, save somebody the time next time. They can just kind of check into the group for it. And don't be afraid to ask questions. People aren't mind readers. People move at different levels. So, if you want to dive into this business, dive in, ask questions, who cares? Do your own homework, and I'd say use all the resources you can. I think that was 3. And then a couple of the things that I wish that I had done sooner. That's tricky. I would say one would be follow-ups. I remember, I still do it sometimes. I'm like super awkward about it. Sometimes when I do my follow-ups, I used to think I was annoying people. Now I don't care as much. Because the truth is that people are super, super busy. And, if I get a text message or a message, I read it and I don't reply right away. See you later. I'm not going to think of that again. So if someone reminds me back, I'm usually like, holy crap, I'm really sorry. I totally forgot about that. And so doing those follow-ups is definitely going to be key. Even if you're embarrassed, like uncomfortable to do them, seriously, type it up, press send, look away. Just do it, run the other room. I remember I used to do that. And then even when I got the message back, I'm like, oh, what's I going to say? So I think just doing them, just get over the fear, something that you're uncomfortable with, just do it and do it and do it until you are not uncomfortable with it anymore. So that's one thing that I wish I had done sooner. And then the other thing I think would be asking people. This has happened to me a couple of times now, where there was someone that I was like, well, I don't really know them. We kind of know each other. I don't want to ask them. I feel like this is awkward. One of them joined another team. Another one joined a challenge group on a different team. And I think there was a third one who did that too. And it's because, I mean, I don't know that they would have specifically joined with me, but I didn't ask. So I never kind of found out that answer. So I would say just present the opportunity to people, put yourself out there. And people have said it a million times. If you don't ask, the answer is no. If you ask, it's going to be yes, no, maybe something in there. Don't make the decision for somebody else, where I absolutely used to just say, nope, they're not going to want to do this. So those would be my 3 things that have helped move my business, and the 2 things I wish I had done sooner.
Oh my gosh, I relate to like every single one of those. I'm like sitting over here like, oh my God, yes. I love how you said that you should just go out and find it. I think that's so important because you're going to have so many different people on your team. So your coach isn't a mind reader. They don't know if you have a question. So you just have to ask, or you have to go on Google. Just go on YouTube and type it in, and I guarantee you, if you type something on YouTube, you're going to find an answer on it. So just be proactive. I love that you said that. And also about the challenge groups. I think that's so important. I think that like the best coaches come from what we give them in the experience of the challenge groups, because that's really like the bread and butter of like what we do. So
If only we could have bread and butter.
yeah, exactly. I mean, who says we don't? Yeah. And then the thing about where you say like you're really uncomfortable, like it's very uncomfortable for you until you repeatedly do it over and over again. And that's exactly, like I remember posting my first before and after photo, and I swear to God, I like posted it and then I like hid under a table. And my husband's like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh my God. Like, but then it just becomes natural, like once you start to talk to people. So those are awesome tips. Thanks. And we'll open it up for questions at the end. And then we have one more. Is Kim on?
Yes.
Yay.
Just so everybody knows, I feel like I'm literally going to say the exact same thing everybody already said. I'm like going through what I wrote down. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's exactly what I just said, or what I was going to say. So I'm sorry if it all repeats itself, but one thing that really made a difference this past year, I've been a coach for 2 years, but only 1 year as an active coach where I was actually working the business. But one thing that really made a difference as I began 2015 and as I kind of progressed through 2015 was my posts. I was posting consistently, but my posts weren't really mindful of what my target audience was. And I'm a mom of 2 girls. And my target audience is other moms, and a lot of times girl moms, because it's a lot different when you raise girls as opposed to boys. But I really do target moms of all sorts, and then stay-at-home moms. And I'm also I was a Division I athlete, so I also target that. So my posts in the beginning were really just kind of like, oh, I did my workout today, and that was like all my posts were. My workouts and Shakeology, that was it. And nobody I found was really liking those, because a lot of people don't really you don't get as many likes on those, and everybody already said that too. And so then all of a sudden it was like, I think it was probably April last year, I started doing more posts geared towards moms and just things you go through every day. Like a post yesterday, I was having a horrible day with one of my girls. She's going through the terrible threes, and I took a picture and it just was like chaos in the background. And I just said, does anybody ever have a day like this? And I know moms can relate, stay-at-home moms. And then everybody started liking it. So people that don't normally like my posts necessarily for my workouts, they were liking this one. And it gets me to see who's really like seeing all of my posts anyways. Just because they don't like it doesn't mean that they're not watching what I do. So it's basically making sure that you're being mindful of your posts, planning your posts ahead of time, and just really focusing on what your target audience is. Because my target audience is really moms and stuff, I don't need to try to reach out to other things that I can't relate to, because that's not the people I want on my team, because I can't relate to them. And I want people on my team that I can relate to and I can really work well with, and we can kind of get each other. Another thing that really I improved on this past year was following up. It was one of my worst things ever, because like everybody else said, I was always scared that people were like, oh my God, just leave me alone. And I kind of got past that, and I just said, screw it. I am not annoying anybody. I am just seeing if they've gotten my message. And honestly, every single person, either my follow-ups were finally answered, or somebody responded and was like, oh my God, I am so sorry. I completely, missed your message, or I've been busy. They never were like, and they didn't necessarily buy anything, but it just kind of got them so that they see how invested I am and that I really care. And it wasn't just sending a message first and then going, well, screw it. They didn't really want to do anything anyways. You were showing that you cared about that particular person, and just that wanted to see if they were interested. A third thing that I did was in my challenge groups, obviously just posting in the group isn't enough all the time, or just tagging your challengers. I created group text messages for people that could relate to each other throughout the group. So I'd have a group of 3 moms. So we could and I'd be in charge of each group, but I'd just say, we could all relate to each other. And then other people that were like single or just have a working life that seemed to kind of work together. And with those, I felt like they talked more and they opened up more in those text messages. And that showed that I cared a lot about what I was doing. And it wasn't just posting in the challenge group. It was outside of the challenge group too. And 2 things that I really wish that I would have done more, and I really still need to really focus on this too, is something that everybody else said too, is inviting. I really suck at it. And I tell myself I need to do it. I have reminders, but I just need to just dig in and do more of it, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to get the challengers and the people that you're going to work with, future coaches, because there's so many times the same thing Ashley said. People just, all of a sudden you look and they're a coach, all of a sudden you're like, crap, like I wish I would have just talked to them. And then you're like, Mia, just do it. And don't be afraid to invite certain people, and who cares? They're going to say one of 3 things. So yes, no, or maybe. And another thing is personal development. I still need to work on it a lot too. It's so important. It really gives you the mindset that you really need, teaches you strategies, but it really just gets you focused on you and what you need to be doing as a leader. So
thanks. Those are awesome. I love that group text idea that you have with your challengers. I used to do that, and I had it was just, I feel like sometimes people don't go on Facebook all the time. Mm-hmm. So when you put them on a group text with other people that they relate to, I feel like it helps them so much more.
Oh yeah, they love it. They love it. So
yeah, I love that. Thanks. That was awesome. Okay, so I thought we could just open it up. If anyone has questions, you guys could ask any of these ladies. If you want to type them in the group chat, or you can just unmute yourself and ask. Okay. How often do you do follow-ups? Anyone can unmute and just answer.
I usually do my follow-ups. I usually do them in bulk. So I'll do them, maybe 2 or 3 days a week, and then just do a whole bunch of them at once. That way they're all kind of grouped together. So I'd say maybe Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, I would say, is typically when I do them. I try to stay away from the Saturdays and Sundays. I usually leave 48 hours between a follow-up. For a new invite, for someone I've already been talking to and they're kind of ready for a challenge pack, I would give 24 hours.
I like that. Hour specific. Let's see. Do you ask permission to put them on a group text first? Some people are iffy about phones. Do you ask them, Kim?
Oh, sorry. I was trying to unmute my thing. It wasn't coming up. Yes, I definitely asked them before. Yep. So I always ask, like I don't want to just put them in a group. Every single person is asked before they're put into the group, and then
Yeah, and usually when they buy a challenge pack, it asks them for their phone number. No, does it? I don't know if it does, but usually after they buy a challenge pack from you, they feel pretty comfortable to ask, right?
Yeah.
I've never used putting them in groups before, but I just typically will always have like my own people in like a group text. So, we don't necessarily relate on a certain level like moms or anything like that, but I kind of explain that we're just like a smaller group within the bigger group. And it's just kind of my way to keep up with them a little bit more. So like you said, Annie, not everybody I think checks into Facebook all the time. So just trying to keep with them and help motivate them a little bit more so than the group.
For someone you've already invited in the past, do you follow the 3 follow-up rule or follow-up? So like the 3 follow-up rule would be if they don't respond in 3 times, you just delete them. Just archive their message.
I guess I usually gauge my follow-ups if it's someone that I've been talking to and have a decent relationship with. I don't follow a certain rule, to be perfectly honest. I kind of feel out the person. I definitely follow up, but I wouldn't always follow up about like, hey, just checking in. I've got a few people getting ready to move forward. Should I save you a spot? They don't answer. Maybe next time I would be like, hey, how was your weekend? Not only asking about the fitness stuff, also just asking about them. And I find generally I get responses usually when I ask about something I saw, like, hey, I saw you went hiking this weekend, something personal.
On the National Wake Up Call, I heard the business activity tracker. Where do I find that? The business activity tracker is in your online office I'm pretty sure it's under business tools.
Yeah.
Yeah, or it's under the training, and then there's like a training one, and I think it's under the training category labeled coach. And that's what Ashley was talking about, was the training. Actually, the training in the online office is actually pretty good, and they do it by like welcome, coach, emerald, diamond, and they have the training specifically. But I think that one's right. Oh, there it is. So you don't even need to look. It's right there. See how great it is to be on a text message thread? Right. Any other questions? We have time for like 1 or 2. Whoa. You're so good, Nicoletta.
I had a couple of comments I just wanted to add in before we end, because one thing that I didn't hear mentioned was live events. And I've been coaching for almost this July will be 3 years, and I've went really in and out in my business. But one thing that I suggest that everyone does is at least get to a Super Saturday or sign up for Summit. I mean, since it's grown so much in the past couple of years since I've been in the business, it's harder to get to the bigger events like Summit, and these cruises are going to become more and more difficult to get into. But live events, like I've been to 4 or 6 Super Saturdays, 2 Summits, a Success Club cruise. And then in my region, Northern Virginia, DC, there's a local coach group where like Jatana Jackson and Greg Armfield and like these top coaches, elite coaches, just gather at a clubhouse, and then they'll have people come. And even though I'm the only Team Boom person, even when we go to these Super Saturdays and there was 1,000 coaches there, I was the only Team Boom person there in Virginia. One other person this last time. It's still, you're involved in the community and you're seeing all these other people that are just as passionate as you. And I think I pretty much took a backseat the past year of my business since we came back from the Success Club cruise because I let other things get in the way. But I still went to Super Saturday anyways because I knew I needed to somehow stay close to the fire. I couldn't completely give up. So that's one thing that I would really recommend if you're kind of on the fence or have had trouble or just trying to stay in the game. Like at least just drag your butt out to Super Saturday to have somebody else, fake it till you make it. But
I totally agree. The live events are amazing. And even if it's not just your team, even if there's a Super Saturday, April 2nd, and they're all over the country. And they like I saw in the comments, people said that, you know, the live events are game changers for them. And it really is. Like, they are awesome. And if you guys aren't on the list to go to Summit for, I don't know if you can go this year, but next year, you have to go to Summit. It's like amazing. Okay, hold on. There's like one more. We'll just take this last one and then that will be good. How would you respond to challengers that have been in a couple of challenge groups and express that it's the same post all the time? I feel that they are not always the same, but thought I would ask for advice. How do you keep them motivated to post in the group? So these are just different challengers that maybe are doing like your same challenge group. Sometimes what I personally do is I know I sometimes will use the same like 21-day fix. I have a script. Most of us use scripts. So if you've never run a challenge group before, you just ask your coach and they will have all the posts and pictures that you need for 21 days. So it's pretty much awesome. And then I try to like use different scripts. Like if I do one for March, I'll try to do one for like, you know, a different script for April. So maybe encourage them to, if they find pictures, to bring them into the group. That's kind of what I do with challengers. Like I'll ask them, like if you see a motivational picture, a fitness group, like, you know, I would really like other people's support. Would you mind bringing it in? So that might help them. Yeah, cool. All right, I think that is all of them. Yeah, there's a bunch of different scripts. Cool. All right, thanks, ladies, so much for sharing. I wrote like 2 pages of notes, and I think that was really, really helpful for a lot of new coaches. And it sounded like, since we all, like, we heard a lot of the same things, which is awesome because, like, it all breaks down to the 3 vital skills and bringing it back to that. So, cool. All right, guys, well, it's 9 o'clock, and we will leave with, on our team, we leave by saying boom at the end. So I'm going to mute you guys, and we all say boom on 3. Hold on. All right. 1, 2, 3.
Boom!
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Sarah, your laugh.
I know.
I saw you toss